Good morning and welcome to That's Ambitious Monday Motivator. Thanks for being here. I appreciate your showing up on this Monday morning. As we all know, 80% of success is just showing up. So thank you for being here. On today's Monday Motivator, we're going to be talking about the three-step SEO approach that works. And while that might not be a motivational topic, I do believe that it is one that can seriously help you in your business if you're looking for more clients, because traffic is a wonderful thing and getting free traffic is even more wonderful because of course it just flows, and getting traffic to flow basically follows this three-step approach. Step one, we're going to do a little bit of targeted keyword research. And a lot of people, when they hear something like that, they think, oh my God, I need to hire somebody. That sounds really complicated. I'm going to show you the super simple way to do targeted keyword research, and it should only take you a couple minutes to do it. The next thing is we still need an ample amount of keyword density in that keyword phrase that we take from targeted keyword research and we apply it to specific areas on our web page. And then finally, creating interaction. That is the key to ranking in Google search results. So those are the three things we're going to cover today. If you have any questions throughout the process, please let me know. And of course, as you arrive, just let us know that you're here. And of course, your questions and comments are important because this is a bit technical, but it is fairly simple to do. And I've been doing this for some time, and I have a lot of SEO results over the years to claim as good, and for myself and for my clients. So this is a process that I'm absolutely certain will support you in creating traffic to your online projects. So let's get going. We're going to start with a little bit of targeted keyword research. So what that essentially means is we need to find a keyword phrase that gets a decent amount of searches in your area that you're searching for. For example, if you can take clients from across Canada, that's one search area. If you can take clients from North America, that's another. If you can take them from the entire globe, that's another. But if you're just looking for local search results, there are ways to find information to support that cause. So we're just going to pop over to a little plan that I've started here. So this is essentially what we call the Google Keyword Planner. And the Google Keyword Planner can be found in the AdWords section. If you open ads.google.com, take a look at the URL. And then at the top of your ads, if you haven't launched ads before, that's okay. You don't need to actually be a paid Google Ads client, although if you are, the results that you'll get are a little more precise than if you didn't have an account. So click on the tools and settings, and we're going to go over to something called the Keyword Planner, and then click on Discover New Keywords. So the last thing you want to do is to just randomly choose your own keywords based on what you think people are searching for. What you really want to know is what did they actually search for, and is it possible for you to rank for those things? So in this particular case, I've chosen Toronto as my search area, but you can change that. Let's just go and put, say, Canada. And let's also choose the United States. So we're basically covering North America. Click Save. And then here you could put whatever it is you want to search for, a specific product, a topic, set of keywords that you want to rank for, and it will show you specific results associated with that. So the one that I developed a quiz for recently is, do I need a life coach? And while that might not be for everybody, it is probably something that people would be searching for. Let's just take a look, get search results, and you can, by clicking on the average monthly searches column, you can sort them from most searched to least searched. So if you're looking at this list, you can tell all the different search phrases that people actually use. and the number associated with the numbers of monthly searches. So essentially what you're looking for is people who are actually doing something that makes sense to what we're trying to put together. So you can see that the number of searches for do you have to be certified to be a life coach is 140, and then it goes down from there all the way down to 10. Anything less than 10, it typically doesn't show. So what you need to do is pick something from that list that makes sense to what it is you're trying to accomplish. I always like to pick keyword phrases that get at least 30 or 40 searches a month, sometimes 50, and that would be a good place to start from. And that's really all it takes to do targeted keyword research. Now, you could have other softwares like Market Samurai to do competition analysis, but that gets a little complicated. And if I'm just writing a blog post or I'm putting a quiz together, this is ample enough information to move forward. Okay, hope that makes sense. If you have any questions about finding specific keyword phrases, you can certainly ask them, and I hope that helps you. So let's move on to the next section. So now that we have our keyword phrase, we're going to move on to the next section, which is, go back here. So ample keyword density. So that means taking our keyword phrase and putting it into the web page in places that make the most sense. Google still uses an algorithm that does check the web page for specific instances of your keyword phrase in strategic places. And I generally follow the 4-step process, which is title, URL, description, and H1. So one more time, title, URL, description, and H1 tag. H1 tag being the title of the page that people see when they open it. So to that end, I've started this process this morning. So let me just pull up the web page that I was working on. And here it is. Actually, that's not it. Posts. So I'm going to create a blog post, and I'm going to put the keyword phrases in specific places, and I'm going to embed a quiz, and I'll talk to you about why I'm doing that in just a moment. So the first thing that you'll notice is this is a simple Gutenberg editor, and most WordPress people, when they're writing posts, not necessarily pages, because pages are more design oriented, whereas a post is typically just text and a couple of images. So they use the Gutenberg, or most people would use the Gutenberg editor to create the blog post versus a builder like Element or Aveda or any of the more popular builders, Beaver Builder and Divi Builder and that kind of thing. So this is just a straightforward Gutenberg editor that comes free with WordPress. So that's the one that I'm going to use now. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to give it a URL, which is the same as the keyword phrase. So do I need a life coach? That's our URL slug that goes down here on the right hand side in the permalink. Now, when you're creating the page, it'll actually pull it from the title of the page. So this is actually our H1 tag, and I think that's important. So title, URL, description, and H1 tag. So the title of the page that people will see is this thing here. Grab something to write with here. So this is actually, looks like my pen is out of juice. Give me 1 second. So here is H1 tag, and that's typically the way that the Gutenberg editor works. So when you give the page a title, it'll take that title, it'll create this permalink separated by hyphens, and right away now we've covered two specific areas that we need. So would I put anything else in that title other than the keyword phrase itself? No. Does the question mark matter? No, because you can see down here there's no question mark in the URL. So if it's actually a question, you can put that and that won't interfere with it. But if you start to put extra words, what you're doing then is you're diluting the effectiveness of the keyword phrase itself. So then the next thing you want to think about is that's title and URL. Now we need a description. So the description is down, if you installed Yoast, which is WordPress SEO, down in this section, Yoast SEO. So that takes this whole section right here, and it says title, which it'll pull from the title at the top, and then it'll give you a description section, which is right here. In order to edit that, you just have to click on the Edit Snippet button. So let's go and do that. And now you have about 160 characters. Well, not about, you have exactly 160 characters. And if you go over that, by the way, the green bar at the bottom will turn orange, just like that. And typically those extra words don't count. But what you want to be concerned with is to make sure that the keyword phrase that you used appears in the first sentence. As you can see that it does here. It says, do I need a life coach? So now we have it in the title, in the URL, and in the description. The only other thing that is required is the H1 tag, which is the first sentence of the document. So if this is title and this is URL and we've got the description, the H1 tag is something that you have to create. So what you would do, normally if you weren't putting a quiz, you would throw in a block somewhere here. So just let's go add a block plus. And then what you're looking for is title, heading, like that, and switch this to H1, and then write your title, do I need a life coach? Now, I don't have that here because it's actually part of the quiz. And I'll show you that in a second, but normally this is how you would create an H1 tag for your document. And I'm going to take that out of there because I don't need that anymore. I'm just going to update this page, and let me take you to the quiz itself, which is here, and I can actually edit this. Thrive doesn't make it easy to navigate through these things, so give me 1 second. So this is the splash page that we call as part of the quiz. It's the first thing they see, and all we need is the short code to put into the blog post itself. But if I open this up and edit it, you can see that it has its own title here. And if you look at that, up here it says H heading 1, which is basically our H1 tag. So that's why I didn't need to put it in my post itself. It's kind of already there. And then all I need is that short code, which you can find here, right there, short code. Copy it and then paste it into a block editor, which I did here. So short code, paste it in. If you wanted to take your SEO a little bit further, which I suggest, you would also in your content make sure that you have some instances of those keyword phrases. Okay? So that basically is how to get your keyword phrase into strategic places into the post itself. So now all I need to do is take a look at the final piece of the puzzle, which is interaction is key. So while many people think that SEO is typically based on keyword phrases alone, when Google actually follows somebody from a search through to the website, it's now tracking the interactivity of that person. For example, did they click anything on that page? Are they engaged with it in any way? Do they scroll the page? Are they watching videos there? Are they navigating up and down? How long are they staying on the page? So it basically looks at all the interaction. Why? Because it's trying to figure out, this very advanced algorithm, whether people actually like the page that showed up in the Google search results. And I think that's a good algorithm. If it can discern the difference between good content and not so good content, then it's a good algorithm. And it doesn't only discern whether the content is good, it discerns whether the user thinks the content is good. So the more interaction there is of that user after clicking through a link on Google, it can now tell the difference between web pages. And I find that interaction is one of the most key elements of this process. So you can't typically find a more interactive process than the quiz itself. So if we were to actually go and look at this quiz, there's 20 questions. And if they start the quiz here, it basically walks them through all of the different questions. So somewhat agree, strongly disagree, agree, and there's 20 questions that they get through. All the while, the URL remains the same. So all of these clicks and interactivity and time on page really factor into the search results. So this one is rather new. It's not going to show up in search results, but if you take a look at this one, concussion test online, you can see for one of my clients, they actually rank #1 for free online concussion test. It's basically the same process. If you click there, you would have this free online concussion test in the title, in the URL. So title, URL, description, and H1 tag. If you looked in the back end of this thing, you can see title, right there, free online concussion test, description, here, free online concussion test, URL, we know it's already there, it's in the URL, and in the H1 tag, which is here, you can see that it says free online concussion test. So we know that we've covered the 4 key areas of content that matter, and you can see from the actual Google search results that we're #1. So it does work really well, even though there's not a lot of content, there is a lot of interaction and activity. That's not the only type of interaction that you're looking for. You could also do things like this. So let's make a little list of things. Interactivity. So 1, we talked about a quiz. 2, there's buttons that scroll to anchor points. That's basically, more details. Click and it actually scrolls the page to an anchor point in the page rather than going to a new page. That's a good one. 3, any video content. 4, any types of buttons or reveal elements like toggles or Q&A, that kind of thing. Anything that they can click on and it opens up, that type of thing. What am I missing here? Actually, content itself is interactive because people will actually scroll up and down the page. Comments section, where people can write comments, click buttons. The longer they stay on the page and make comments, that would be great. So these are all the types of things, and I'm sure you can think of more, but that's a pretty solid list of things that can create interactivity. So let's go back to our three-step process. One, we did targeted keyword research using the Google keyword tool in ads.google.com. Step 2, we covered the title, URL, description, H1, and even body of the document. And step 3, we created an interaction or interactivity on the web page that Google can track and see that it's a great web page. And that pretty much ends our really solid overview of how to do SEO in August of 2020, because the process has changed significantly over the past several years. It's more based on interactivity these days than anything else, but you still need good keyword research and you still need an ample amount of keyword density. If you have any questions or comments, now would be the time to bring them up. And if you're concerned about anything or need more detail, it would be now your opportunity to do so. I'll wait a couple of minutes for any questions or comments, and then if there aren't any, that'll be it for today. Well, there doesn't seem to be any questions or comments this morning, so I want to thank you for your time. I hope that this was valuable to you. If you haven't been doing this type of process, I think that it will definitely work, and it's worked for me in the past. So thank you all for your time and attention to this. Of course, this video will be immediately put into the Facebook videos area. It'll also be in the newsfeed section of the members Facebook members group. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a great week, and get out there and be ambitious. My name is Paul Toby. Take care. Hey, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, go subscribe to the channel, and get out there and be ambitious.